She was just 19, leaving Aberdeen, South Dakota, with only $20 and a dream of a new life. 2 weeks later, she vanished without a trace. No goodbye, no explanation. Just silence, a silence that would last 7 long years. One decision, one meeting, one moment that changed everything. So what really happened to Morgan Bauer? Stay with Shadow's True Crime as we uncover a disappearance that refused to stay buried. Morgan Bauer was 19 years old, a young woman determined to carve her own path. She was confident, fearless, and independent. Friends described her as someone who didn't back down and spoke her mind. She had a small tattoo on her wrist, a symbol of protection and personal strength, a reminder to herself that she could face the world on her own terms. Morgan lived in Aberdeen, South Dakota, a quiet college town, with her mother, Sherry. Their bond was close. They shared a warm, supportive relationship, and Sherry worried deeply about her daughter's safety, but she also respected Morgan's independence. Morgan dreamed of more than the life in Aberdeen. She wanted adventure, freedom, a chance to explore the world beyond the familiar streets she had grown up on. Morgan's longing for independence led her to a Craigslist ad, someone looking for a housekeeper or roommate. On February 12, 2016, she made the decision that would change everything. She packed a few bags, took only $20 in cash, and her mother gave her a penny for protection, a small token of love and safety. Then she boarded a flight from South Dakota to Atlanta, Georgia, stepping into a world she barely knew, chasing freedom and opportunity, unaware that the choices she made that day would lead her into danger. Morgan's new life in Atlanta did not start as she had imagined. Her Craigslist roommate, the person she trusted to help her settle in, quickly became a source of conflict. Arguments escalated, and before long, Morgan's belongings were thrown outside the apartment. Despite the chaos, Morgan refused to return home to South Dakota. She was determined to prove her independence, to carve out a life of her own, even if it meant facing the dangers of an unfamiliar city. Survival became her focus. Morgan looked for work wherever she could. She had prior experience as a waitress, but a lack of proper identification and paperwork prevented her from gaining steady employment. Eventually, she found a job as a dancer at the Top of Gainesville Club, a nightclub in Hull County, Georgia. It wasn't the career she had envisioned, but it allowed her to earn money, stay afloat, and maintain a semblance of independence. At the club, Morgan met new people, some friendly, others who presented risks in this new world. Every choice she made carried weight, but none could predict the danger that lay ahead. On the evening of February 25, 2016, Morgan Bauer finished her shift at the Top of Gainesville Club. She left the club alongside fellow dancer Caitlin Goel and Caitlin's boyfriend, Jonathan Warren. This was the last confirmed sighting of Morgan. After that night, she would seemingly vanish without a trace. She walked into the unknown, leaving behind everything familiar: her friends, her belongings, her plans. Hours passed. No calls. No texts. Morgan's phone went dead, or perhaps it had been turned off. Her social media accounts, normally active, went silent. Friends grew worried. Her family's concern escalated into panic. Police were called, but initially, there was no clear sign of foul play. Morgan Bauer was simply missing, and no one knew if she had chosen to disappear or if something far more sinister had occurred. The clock was ticking, and with every hour that passed, the fear grew, a sense that something had gone terribly wrong. As days turned into weeks, the search for Morgan Bauer intensified. A Facebook group called Missing Morgan quickly grew to over 13,000 members, all sharing tips, leads, and messages of support. Media outlets across the nation picked up her story, broadcasting her disappearance far beyond Georgia. Private investigator T.J. Ward joined the case, bringing expertise and renewed hope to the family. Despite these efforts, numerous reported sightings only created confusion, sending investigators down dead ends and complicating the timeline. The more the public searched, the more the mystery deepened. Morgan Bauer had vanished and no one knew where to look next. Investigators struggled to piece together Morgan's final hours. Her phone last pinged in Porterdale, Georgia, hours after she left the nightclub. But according to Caitlin Goel and Jonathan Warren, they had dropped her at a gas station in Covington, over 20 miles away. The timeline didn't add up. Inconsistencies in the stories raised suspicions. Questions multiplied. Had someone intentionally misled authorities? And most importantly, where was Morgan Bauer? On February 26, 2016, an Instagram video surfaced captured years later during the investigation. The footage showed Morgan at Yellow River Park, walking and unaware she was being followed. The presence of a man trailing her shifted the investigation. This new evidence officially moved the timeline by one day, suggesting that Morgan's disappearance may have occurred later than initially believed. Investigators now realized the situation was far more deliberate than anyone had first suspected. Attention soon turned back to Jonathan Warren and Caitlin Goel. Morgan's phone records placed her near Jonathan's former home, and the video at Yellow River Park was less than a mile away from that location. Investigators began to suspect that Morgan may have voluntarily gone to Jonathan's house or that someone there played a role in her disappearance. Every lead brought new questions, and the focus on her companions intensified as the search for answers continued. After 7 long years, the case finally saw a major breakthrough. The FBI, working with Porterdale Police, executed a search warrant at a property of interest. Inside, investigators discovered evidence that immediately drew attention, signs that the missing young woman had been at the location. Most importantly, Morgan Bauer's remains were finally recovered on the property, bringing a tragic confirmation to the years of fear, uncertainty, and hope for her family. This discovery transformed the investigation from a missing person case into a full homicide investigation, finally providing answers about her fate. Though the loss remained devastating, the investigation finally caught up to those closest to Morgan Bauer's final hours. Jonathan Warren, last seen with Morgan on the night of February 25, 2016, was arrested in Los Angeles. Authorities charged him with murder and other related offenses, including evidence tampering. His involvement had long been under scrutiny, and the discovery of Morgan's remains finally gave investigators the evidence needed to act. Not far behind, Caitlin Goel, who had accompanied Morgan that night, was arrested in Illinois. She faced multiple charges as well, including accessory to murder and evidence tampering. Though her role was less clear, prosecutors alleged that Caitlin's version of events conflicted with the evidence, and investigators questioned whether she had helped conceal crucial information about what happened to Morgan. Both arrests sent shockwaves through the community. The people who had once seemed like Morgan's friends were now suspects, and questions about trust, betrayal, and accountability dominated the investigation. In court, Jonathan Warren quickly pleaded guilty, acknowledging his role in Morgan Bauer's death. The judge sentenced him to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, ensuring that he would never harm another person. Meanwhile, Caitlin Goel's case remained pending. Prosecutors continued to challenge her account of events, citing inconsistencies, and the evidence collected from the crime scene. Her trial would determine whether she played a direct role in Morgan's death or whether she was complicit in covering it up. The legal proceedings highlighted the devastating consequences of manipulation, secrecy, and poor decisions. Even years later, Morgan's family was forced to relive the details, waiting for justice to fully play out. For Sherry Bauer, Morgan's mother, the nightmare never ended. For 7 long years, she searched tirelessly for her daughter. Flyers covered towns. Vigils were held to keep Morgan's memory alive. She appeared on local and national media, pleading for anyone with information to come forward. Through every dead end, every misleading tip, and every moment of despair, Sherry never gave up hope. Her relentless fight for answers became the backbone of the investigation, keeping attention on Morgan's disappearance and eventually helping bring justice to her daughter. The emotional toll on the family was immense. Every day without answers was filled with pain, uncertainty, and fear, but also a determination that Morgan's story would not be forgotten. Morgan Bauer left home seeking freedom and independence. Her silence became a mystery that lasted 7 years, haunting family, friends, and an entire community. Justice eventually came, arrests, convictions, and accountability, but the loss remains permanent, a reminder of how fragile life can be and how quickly innocence can be shattered. Some dreams end too soon, but their stories must still be told. If you want to honor Morgan's memory and hear more real-life investigations, subscribe to Shadow's True Crime. Comment below with your thoughts, share the story, and stay with us as we uncover the mysteries that demand to be remembered.